Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and we are here alive and well in November. It is already November. It's November 4th. It's as we're recording this, it's election day, so happy election day. I'm in Europe, so it doesn't really affect me. But and Josh is not even registered his new place, so we're
Didn't
both
register at
just
my new address, yeah, so I
we're
am
sorry.
out.
We are bad Americans. We apologize. No, it is a great time to be alive. Basketball's tipped off, both college and NBA. Baseball wrapped up. Football's going on. It's just an amazing. And NHL is happening. It's just a great time to watch sports. And Josh, how was your weekend? Was it full of joy and laughter, or was it full of sorrow and pity?
No, it had plenty of joy in it. Saturday I was down in Columbus with the lady watching the Blue Jackets,
Look
getting
at
some
you.
hockey
You're gonna become a
action.
Blue Jacket fan. I could see it. I could see
It's
it.
it's hard to like be able to put on LA Kings fandom at full display because I'm never gonna get to really watch them play, and
And you're not going to LA anytime
I,
soon.
I'm not gonna go out to LA, yeah, ever probably, much less to specifically watch the Kings. It'd probably be to watch the Dodgers or the Angels if I ever went out there. But yeah, the Blue Jackets are the closest team. I think Detroit is actually technically a little closer, and I've been out there once
Ugh.
also. But I bought those hockey tickets before I knew the World Series schedule and that we were obviously going to have a game 7. So on the way home, that's what I was listening to was game 7. And then the next day I got to watch all the highlights so I could see everything that was happening that I was hearing because some of the calls that were going on, like the IKF late, run to home that
How about
just
just
got him
slide
out.
head first? Get yourself 3 inches there.
Yeah, that the Miguel Rojas homer was incredible. Obviously,
Great
and
game 7, man. It was a
yeah,
great game 7.
without getting too far into World Series, because I know we'll
Yeah.
talk about that
Yeah.
soon. That's kind of how my weekend was.
Nice.
Sunday I picked up overtime, so I didn't really watch any NFL
Yeah.
action. But
Mm.
Benjamin,
Yeah.
how's things across the ocean?
It's been going great. We're in the last quarter or last week of the quarter for school. So that means my life is a little busier with projects, papers, and everything else to grade. But I'm still in my off season for football. But other than that, man, I just got to I watched some football this weekend. Just kind of hung out. This week I'll have a lot more of doing some little things here and there with school and stuff and football. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on over here in the pond. I mean, other than the weather's been great. It's been like I think it was like we had one day last week in school. I went out for recess duty and it was like 65 degrees. I'm like, this is amazing. It's like it's almost November. This is phenomenal. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. Also, worth noting that I got home close to 2 o'clock. Was going to only sleep maybe 6 hours before church, and then when I went to bed, the clock changed from 1:59 to 1, and I was like, "That's
Hey,
right,
yeah, it's
daylight
annoying.
savings is
It's
here."
annoying because now I'm recording this at 10:45 instead of 9:45 like last week. It was phenomenal last week. I
Dang.
felt like I was like, oh, so much more alive. But no,
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Well, why don't we go ahead and
Yeah,
kick off discussion of how this World Series went? Because we
phenomenal.
got, like I said, 7 games, and I guess just generally speaking, I know that sometimes it's easy to become a victim of recency bias,
Yeah.
but this might have been the greatest World Series I've ever seen, Ben.
I I would say this is the best since I would say at least in the 20s this is the best.
The best of
And
the 20s,
and
and
I
I'd
would
say the best
say
since 2016.
16, but I would even go back to it might be as good as maybe that Royals run, whatever that was. That was 15, I think it was.
14 or 15.
Yeah. So I would say it's even there. I mean, but I think what makes this game, what this made this series so good was the fact that it was 6-7. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My kids are saying it at school. I had to add that in there.
Uh,
But the fact though that you're up 3-2, you're up 3-2. I mean, the Blue Jays had every chance in the world to put that game away. And again, we'll talk about it, but I think what made it so great was that game 7 specifically was one for the ages. There was mishaps, there was great hits, there was great placement of pitching substitutions, and it just everything seemed to be just what made a game 7. That's why it's the two greatest words in the English language, some would say. And I think that's just what makes it so great in that sense.
yeah, and just I guess going more at a 10,000 foot view too, the players in this one, there were just so many monumental moments in this
Oh
one.
yeah.
Like we can think of Trey Savage throwing, the 7 innings and 12 strikeouts. First rookie, I think, to do that. Yamamoto going out there with a complete game in game two, and then six more strong innings in game six, and then
Dude,
coming in game
these
seven for
Japanese pitchers, by the
more
way, are just
relief.
made out of something else, dude. These Japanese pitchers are just something
They
else.
are. Let's see, Addison Barger hitting the grand slam in game one to
Yeah,
blow up that sixth inning. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Maybe having one of the best offensive World Series
yeah.
performances, period, game to game to game to game, over and over and over
You
again.
saw the emotion too from him.
Yeah. Bo Bichette coming back too and having a couple
That
big
was
hits
sweet.
and defensive plays too. It was so many heavyweights like just trading punches. And I feel like the 2016 series, the more of the story was it was, the 3-1 lead and then game seven, Cleveland tying it, going to extras,
Just hurt,
the rain
man.
delay and
Just
everything.
pain in
Like
it.
it was a very good finish, but I think game to game there wasn't really, as many of those
No.
moments
Yeah.
that are just gonna, go in your memory forever.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why it was. In game seven, I don't know if you saw, Ben, there were over 25 million viewers for that
Yeah.
one compared to just 16 million for the NBA Finals game seven. So
I think that
kind
shows
of tells
something.
you it kind of tells you where baseball is at right now in the national landscape. And some people might say, well, that's because the whole country of Canada and the whole country of Japan might have been more involved in
Okay.
that than the world there
But I thought
than
NBA
the
was
NBA
global.
Finals.
But I thought NBA was global is what everyone tells me.
NBA is a global sport, they say, over with all the,
Well, especially
international
Europe.
stars we
I
got.
mean, look at Europe and yet it's still not viewing great. And that's because it's just trash basketball. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be honest. It's not what they're used to over here specifically.
Yeah. I think baseball's in a pretty good spot though. But
They
yeah,
are.
incredible series, and I'm so glad they did give Yamamoto the MVP. Sometimes since pitchers, only might get two, maybe three appearances max,
Yeah.
they may not go there. They might go with like more of the flashy bat. But dude, in game seven when Rojas came up, I was just thinking of when Cleveland had Michael Martinez come up and he made the final out in that game seven. I'm like, you didn't have anybody on the bench you could have pinch hit in this
I
series.
know.
And with at least the Dodgers, I know Andy Pages hasn't been, the best, and he was actually benched for the last couple games. But higher ceiling bat. Obviously, Rojas is out there only for the defensive impact. I'm like, man, you're the Dodgers. You got somebody on the bench that can hit in this place, right? Like we're in Game Seven. This is like, for everything. And then he goes and hits a home run. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Miguel Rojas, homer of all people.
Well, that's what I mean.
I thought it was cool because the Dodgers are known for all the superstars, the
Yeah.
1.2 billion in payroll or whatever it is that they're paying their guys in totality. And then it was little Miguel Rojas that came up with the big moment like that.
No, and I think it goes and shows that like you don't need the big. I mean, look at some of the World Series heroes in history. They're not big names. Some of them, right? They're guys that they are, flashes of that, in a bottle. But no, I think in general, this game for me was just obviously I got to see parts of it here and there, and the whole series, the 18 inning game, and I think for me, even though I hate to see the Dodgers win, right? Like I hate seeing that the money is winning and all that. I think what the Blue Jays did do though is they set a plan for other teams. You don't have to pay every guy a lot of money, but you need to have one dude that you build around, and you need to go pay that guy, right? Whether you're the Reds and you go pay De La Cruz, if you're the Guardians and you pay Ramirez, right? You pay these guys and you build around them. Like, yeah, you might spend some more money elsewhere, but if you look at Toronto, they're a big market. They're not a huge market. They have obviously they're the only team in Canada, so they have more of that sense. But in reality, though, you have a team that they spent a lot of money. They risked pretty much their future on one player, and you build around it in the pieces you need to. And I think that was a very smart decision. And again, I was very against the Blue Jays from the beginning of the season. I didn't think they're going to get this far, but they proved there is a plan that you can do in order to make it work.
Yeah, a couple things to that. I agree. I think that one graphic going around that I really like has Toronto, I think, just outside the top 10 in total revenue generated, but they're investing a lot of it back into the team.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that when they give Vladimir Guerrero Jr. $500 million. If every team did that with their superstar, how many superstars would be available for the Dodgers to go and sign? Like
Not
that's how you
many.
combat that. And instead, I'm afraid that in this offseason, and then we'll see in the 2026 season, we're already seeing it with the Cubs. There's a player and team option both declined for Shota Imanaga, and they're going to let him, I guess, test free agency. And Kyle Tucker's also in free agency. So the Cubs, the fourth richest team in the league, I think, might be pretending that they can't afford to keep both of these guys and are just going to let them walk. maybe the Dodgers. I know the people have been saying the Dodgers are going to be in the running for Kyle Tucker. I don't know how much more room there is in a lineup for them to go and get more guys, but just seeing stuff like
Imagine if
that
they
already, I'm
imagine if
just
they
like,
had
man.
Imaga. That would be like another Japanese player on the Dodgers. It's like the Japanese
They throw
Dodgers.
out a rotation of
Oh, and then
Yamamoto, Otani, Sasaki,
oh,
Imanaga,
and then you have the
Glass
two
now,
you have the
Snell.
you have the two pitchers from Japan that have just been posted. They're both got like a sub 202 ERA, which means those two guys are going to be a chance to sign with the Dodgers. Plus, you have a guy that is the home run king in college baseball in Japan. He's been posted, which means he's another bat that they could go after. And I think he's more leaning towards the Angels. I think and a few other teams that I think the thing is that the Dodgers are getting to the point now where guys are not really going to want to sign because there's not really place to play. Like if you're just a bullpen piece, okay, maybe a fifth starter, okay. But if you're like the stud, it's going to be really hard for you to go, okay, yeah, you pay me a lot of money, but I'm barely going to play. Um, so yeah, I think it's interesting. I unfortunately believe the Reds are going to do the exact same thing and just get rid of all their guys that were decent this year because they don't want to pay anyone. So it's going to be interesting to see a baseball offseason, but I think it's enough baseball talk. I think we need to jump in this football because it was a fun weekend once again.
It was, and we saw two coach firings. We saw Hugh Freeze go down, and Mike Loxley, maybe not as
Some
famous,
would
also went
say,
down at Maryland.
some would say it's a Hugh problem. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
A
It's
huge problem.
oh my
And that
goodness.
Maryland was not a Loxley to make the playoffs, so they decided to dip on
Did they
their
just
coach.
fire him today?
Not today. I think that one didn't make as much noise because Hugh Freeze and Auburn kind of overpowered
Did they
that. But
really fire Loxley?
I was more shocked by Loxley because a program like Maryland, I think he's done very well over there. There's not a whole lot of guys out there that would be interested in taking that job. And I think just right now they've been a little bit more down because of like transitions, younger players,
Oh wait,
and they
hold
decided to
on,
move on from
pause.
him.
They did not move on from him. Sports Illustrated just posted that the rumors Maryland is not parting ways with Loxley despite the rumors. Fake reports claimed that Maryland was firing Mike Loxley, but the school confirmed the veteran coach isn't going anywhere despite recent struggles. And this was posted on. Oh wait, no, was this? Yeah, this was November 3rd, so this was yesterday. Um,
Dang,
uh,
fell for it.
the recent firing. Yeah, Maryland has had no plans of removing Lockley. There was some guy that tweeted this. Yeah, this Rob Reinhart, and he I guess was wrong because even like he fooled like Tim Brando and stuff. Um,
That's what I was seeing is like I saw Reinhardt and I saw a couple other people share it.
yeah, someone said it for everyone
Dang,
asking.
it was 2 days ago
This is
on
fake
Sunday.
BS.
Dang. Okay.
So, anyways, one firing this weekend.
Well, good, Ben. I appreciate you fact checking
Well,
that, and
because
so
I was like,
I didn't look
I
entirely
follow because
stupid.
I follow a lot of these really closely, and I was shocked that I did not see that one pop up because it's a bigger name that didn't pop up. So I was like, huh, interesting. It's the only reason I was going to
All
look.
right. Don't ever listen to any news I try to break ever again, I guess. But yes, Hugh Freeze goes down, so another big name coach goes down this year. I'm just wondering, Ben, how sustainable this model is of just throwing a lot of money at
It's
coaches,
not.
firing coaches
It's
soon, and
not.
paying big buyouts when the boosters and the fans will get tired of asking not only
Some
for
would
money to
say,
pay NIL, but also
oh,
for these buyouts.
some would say that it's going to freeze their wallets. Um, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Oh, that's good. But no, in all seriousness, I'm sorry. I had a good dad jokes today. Um, in
good.
all seriousness, I think it's a very stupid way to go because I think this is the one thing. There's going to be people with money. They're going to stop giving you money because they're going to be tired of spending money to pay dudes that are not there, right? And I think
Hmm.
Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, these schools have it going the right way where they're saying we're going to invest in our coach. We're going to pay him what he's due, but then we're going to invest around him to give him the best possibility to have success, the best. trainers, the best off-field staff, the best staff on the field, like giving guys that bring the culture that they want, right? Indiana's doing a great job. Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas A&M, same thing. It's like bringing in the guys you want to build the culture to keep it going long term. Again, we saw with Clemson is that they were unwilling to change, and that's from the back staff to the front thing. And now you're seeing Dabo on the hot seat, right? You're seeing the same thing with Auburn. Auburn had all these issues that never really were solved. Um, so I'm very interested to see what happens because I think a lot of these places just need a culture reset, and they need to look at a place like Ohio State, look at a place at Oregon, and look at a place at Georgia, and see how it's stability and how is it stable. And that's the only way you can do that is by actually going out and looking like, hey, Ohio State hasn't won six or less games, hasn't lost less than six games since like 1970, right? Like, why is that successful? It's not because they're spending billions of dollars. It's because they're finding a way to make it work also behind the scenes.
I think the one thing that Hugh never could get right at Auburn was the quarterback.
Agreed.
Robbie Ashford, Peyton Thorne, Jackson Arnold this year. I saw Auburn's one of three teams to not allow more than 24
I
points in a
know.
game this year. They're 4-5.
Indiana and Ohio State are the top two teams in the country, and then there's Auburn.
They've been competitive in just about every game they've played. They got, a good defense, obviously. They got some offensive skill guys like Cam Coleman that are
A
pretty
freak.
talented. They've utilized the portal well. They've just never been able to get that quarterback right. And I
No.
think that's been the most damning thing on Hugh Freeze. And I think the other thing to go along with what you're saying about coaches is just I think some of these programs got to have some more realistic expectations of who they
Agreed.
are and that you're not going to be able to be in the national championship race every year. You're not going to be able to win that every year. I worry about maybe a program like Tennessee. I'm hearing rumblings just on Twitter right now, not so much the national media, about Josh Heupel and the status of him
He
at
was-
Tennessee. And it's like, dude, if they let Heupel go, what a huge mistake, man. I feel like that guy loves Tennessee, and I thought Tennessee really loved him, and he's done so well over there after being like almost 2 decades of being irrelevant old Tennessee. And Tennessee is one of those programs where it's like, yeah, they'll have that window where they go like 10, 11 wins. Now that we got the expanded playoff, I think they're going to be in there more years than not. But this was always going to be a transitional year. We said that at the beginning. I thought 8-4 was a realistic like expectation for their fan base to have with everything they lost, with having to replace their quarterback after the spring portal window. Like that's super hard to do. So going 8-4, I thought was always good. And then, they flashed a little bit early and made you think, well, maybe they can get back in the playoffs. But I think this was always like the kind of season Tennessee was going to have.
Yeah, and I agree with you what you said there. The expectations of fan bases and of schools is like, it's one thing, like we've seen that at Ohio State, at Alabama, at Georgia. Like we've always seen that. But it's like some of these schools, because of the expanded playoff, they have this expectation that their team needs to be in the playoff every year. Like, look, if you have a down year, one down year does not mean now it's different if it's been every year you've been like 6-6 or 5-7. But if it's like, oh, we've had, look at Franklin. Yeah, he couldn't win the big one, but the guy was just like a play away or a couple plays away from being the national title last year, right? Like, and it's the same thing with like, you look at some of these other schools that are just confusing, like why can't a team win? Like I look back at LSU, like why they ever got rid of Ed Orgeron, who is successful, who was an LSU kind of guy, like down south, deep south guy, and you bring a guy from the north to come and understand that culture. It's not like look at the fit first, and then figure out everything else after. Personally, that's my thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Coaching, I think another thing now too with the 12 team format and the way that the portal is and everything that you gotta like bake in the possibility of a dead season,
Yeah,
like what Penn State had.
yeah,
And maybe they did pull the trigger too early on Franklin, but I think you're going to see a lot more dead seasons where, like, if a
100% agree.
team isn't going to make the 12 team and they know it early, the season could just be over.
Oh, 100% agree.
And I hate
100%.
that for the sport, but I think it's a reality of the new era that we're in.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
One team whose season is not dead, Ben, is the Texas Longhorns, though. They continue to fight another day. They jumped out to a 17 to nothing lead on Vanderbilt in the first quarter, and things did get interesting in the second half because Vanderbilt scored 21 points in the fourth while Texas scored none. Made this thing
I
interesting at
was
the
so
end,
happy
but
they lost. I was so happy that Vanderbilt lost.
Texas did hold on to win 34 to 31. And Arch
Looked
I
like
wonder
Arch.
I wonder what this means for Texas now because Arch has played the two best games he's had this season back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
They've been close games though, which sucks because Mississippi State went to overtime. They just survived Vandy here, but I wonder what this means for Texas, Ben. It might have just taken a little longer than what we would have thought, but if Arch figured it out, man, Texas has a tough road to go here. They still got to go and play a game against Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. But
I,
man, if Arch figured it out, what could this mean for
well,
Texas?
I'll be honest with you, Josh. I think he just the pressure's gone. Like he had so much pressure at the beginning of the year. He's not in the Heisman running anymore. He's not in this conversation. I think he can breathe now, right? His team lost 2 games. It's like we're gonna bounce back now. Breathe and just play your game, right? And again, makes Ohio State look like that win's a lot better with this win. But again, I just want to point out that Vanderbilt, we all knew, like in our hearts, we all knew Vanderbilt was not going to be a team that runs the table in the SEC. And I'm not saying that no disrespect to where they are now. I'm just saying like they have not shown it at a consistent basis over the last 3 years to really say they're going to win the tough games. I think the teams that are more physical, the faster teams, it's going to be tough for them. And again, Pavia looks great sometimes, and then he looks rough sometimes. And I think that's what you get with that. It's kind of again, it's like you said before, like the Manziel effect. It's like which one do you get? Like which kind of like the version do you get of Pavia? But again, Arch looked good. That Texas defense is really good. But again, they squandered up late, which is just interesting. And again, that's why I don't think they're going to be able to beat Georgia. And I don't think they're going to beat Texas A&M. I think this Texas team is a 4-loss team at this rate, at least going right now.
Yeah, tough games to go for sure. I thought Vanderbilt would win this one, not necessarily run the table, but Texas just was looking a little dead. But who knows? Those are some hard games, though.
Yeah.
There were a lot of games that went on this weekend, Ben. We won't touch on all of them, but what's one game another game that you want to talk about?
Well, I think the Ohio State Penn State game, and I think mainly because I think one, I'm just saying this to preview kind of this next week. I think Indiana needs to watch out because I think Penn State still has a lot of fight left in them, and they're still a very talented team. Because I saw that in the first half. I was watching the Ohio State game, and Ohio State was, they were up 7-0. Then they went up. I think it was 10-0, then 10-7, and then there was a fumble at the end of the half, which made it a 3-point game at halftime. And I'm going, it was interesting because the game when the fumble happened and they scored a touchdown. Honestly, Josh, I thought that the game was like still like we were up 30 points because that's how dominant in some ways Ohio State was. But then second half came over, and I think the defensive guys were really kind of pissed off. And I'll tell you, Julian saying, man, 3 incompletions, 4 touchdown passes. I mean, when you have more touchdowns than completions, and he's the number 1 quarterback in efficiency now in pretty much every efficiency category. He's like 4th in touchdown passes. He made some throws, by the way, Josh, that I have not seen at the college level. He threw it in a basket with 3 dudes on Jeremiah Smith at the end of the game. Like, all the way, by the way, down 40 yards down the field. It's just the things he does. I mean, he had one play where he got out of a sack and juked out a guy and then ran for 10 yards. Like, I never knew Julius Hand could do that. Again, we have to remind ourselves this guy's only a freshman. He's a redshirt freshman. He's like 19 years old, doing these things and being so composed. And he's even better when they blitz him. He like barely misses passes when they blitz him, And so for me, just the way the defense rebounded from kind of having a slow start, I think a little bit. Still, I mean, the 38-17 doesn't show you, 38-14 doesn't show you how much of a blowout this was. It was probably more like a 50-14 game. But again, hats off to Penn State. They kind of fought in that first half, but Ohio State just did the damage in the second half. And thank goodness Caleb Downs wasn't charged for targeting on that hit. Because he wasn't. Because I mean, again, he was not. Again, he wasn't heading with his helmet. He was trying to go with the shoulder pads. Now, did he launch? That's the question. But also, I like what the Big Ten does, and they agree that a guy should be penalized, but not necessarily ejected for every little targeting, which I agree, and Joe Cladd does as well. But yeah, overall, man, I'm just really impressed by this team. Julian Sand has put his name in the Heisman race for sure for other people.
Yeah, I thought that we thought that Ryan Day would hang 40 on Jim Knowles, and I mean 38 is pretty close, and they
Mm-hmm.
did cover the 20.5 point spread here. But like you said, man, I think Ohio State came in here and wanted this one for sure. 480 yards to 200 total yards. Ohio State led the advantage of. Outrushed them 164 to 55. The this was a game that they wanted to get up for, and I thought Penn State would get up for it too in
Yeah.
a sense. But yeah, Ohio State, yeah, continuing to look good every week.
Poor Purdue this week, I mean.
Yeah, man. One game that we didn't talk about last week, and I mean, just the circumstances of it, how big the spread was, and what we thought of the Miami Hurricanes. Ben, shocker to fall at SMU 26 to
Shocker,
20 in overtime.
they fail at the end of the year. This seems like a normal Miami thing.
I hate it, man. This one for Miami, I think they had 9 drives. It was that they got into SMU territory. There were a lot of missed opportunities here. They had a huge advantage in the pass game, I thought. SMU came in ranked like 120 something in pass defense, and Carson Beck's not, the most dominant quarterback by any means, but everything I thought favored Miami coming to this one, so that's why I didn't really talk about it. SMU's a team that's got 3 losses too. Their playoff hopes and dreams are over this year,
Hmm.
but man, dude, yeah, they came in here and played the Hurricanes tough. Uh, Even running through the box score, like SMU converted 3 of 13 third downs. SMU was outrushed 159 yards to 23. One thing that played to their advantage, though, was that Miami was super undisciplined. 12 penalties, 96 yards. Miami also turned it over twice, while SMU only turned it over once. Just, yeah, like you said, Miami came into the year beating Notre Dame, beat a solid G5 USF team. Winning against Florida, is what it is. Florida State we thought was a good win. And then it was just like you just got to cruise those last
Hmm.
possibly 8 games in a row it is without a bye, and some of those are going to be in cold weather games. That was going to be a test, maybe a spot where they could fall, maybe once, but now they've fallen twice. And with the way the ACC playoff picture is looking right now, they might play themselves out of the playoff entirely.
And then you have to start asking about Cristobal. I mean, if teams are firing coaches the way they are now, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. It as much as I say it won't happen, I wouldn't shock the crap out of me. That's for sure. You know, but
Even with improving year to year to year, like they missed the playoffs last year at 10-2. The most, I guess, the best they can do this year is to match that at 10-2. But talking about the ACC, Virginia and Louisville continue to win. Georgia Tech did go down to the NC State. NC State's been a spoiler. I think they gave Virginia their only loss this year too.
yeah,
So yeah, that ACC race is not over by any means, but
no,
Miami definitely made it a little bit more interesting with going down to SMU.
yeah, that's still wild.
Yeah. What else you got, Ben?
Yeah,
I think we need to address Brendan Sorsby in that Cincinnati
yes,
Utah game.
yeah. I was gonna actually talk. That was actually the game I was thinking
Okay.
about talking about because for me, well, one, Brendan Sorsby, thank you, man. Thank you for like I give you so much hype and so much like congratulations, and then you just look like you like never had woken up into a football field before. It's ridiculous. Um, I'm just gonna say this: Utah's looking real good late, and I mean real good. And this is the Big 12 that I think is still quite wide open, and Utah is slowly but surely creeping up there, going, "Hello there, Texas Tech," and saying that because just the way they played, I mean, the physicality of their defense, their offense was able to just kind of stretch the field in multiple ways. And it just kind of felt that like Cincinnati just didn't really show up. Like Sorsby didn't seem like he was all there. And I don't know if the hype kind of got to him, but he looked rough. And well, unfortunately, he's not going to be in the Heisman list much longer. But still, I just hats off to Utah. I mean, they played great that game for sure.
They did. Even running through the box score, most of the categories look mostly even for the most part. The one thing that stood out though is Utah had the ball just over 40 minutes this game.
Yeah.
Like time of possession battle totally went Utah. And like you said, the scoreboard, heavily Utah at the end of the day. Sorsby went 11 of 33. Yeah, like you said, I ruled Utah out. I was like, this isn't going to be quite the year for them. But yeah, the Big 12 race is still open too, even for Utah. Just like speaking of playoffs, like now that Miami has 2 losses, Utah still only has 2 losses also.
Yeah.
And I think the last game that we should touch on before we get into power rankings and everything is the Tennessee Oklahoma game
Yeah.
because that was also a playoff elimination game right there too. And
Before
Tennessee,
we get into that, can we talk about the kicker for Oklahoma's shorts that this dude's basically
oh
wearing?
yeah, that got a little attention on
Ridiculous.
social media.
Dude, just pull him down, dude. It's ridiculous. Absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous.
football shorts now are the new I guess fashion trend in football. It's not the first time I've seen it, but
That was really short though. That was like thigh.
that was a little heavy. Yeah, yeah, definitely flashing some quad striations there if you had any. But yeah, Tennessee goes down here 6-3 now. Uh, they haven't beaten anybody good this year when you run through, and I can't believe they're still ranked. I think they're still ranked in the top 25 right now, and they got three losses and they got no good wins. So it's just like, why are we giving teams credit for teams they lose to, like when they haven't beaten anybody? But we got to talk about the winners too, man, because Oklahoma survived another day, and they did it mostly with John Mateer
Yeah,
struggling. He went 19 to 29,
he does
159
not
yards,
look
zero
good.
touchdowns,
He
one
does
pick.
not
Yeah,
look good.
definitely not the same guy. But big thing that helped was that Xavier Robinson had 115 yards on the ground, averaged over 7 yards a carry, and had a touchdown. Mateer also made an impact on the ground, 80 total yards there, 5 yards a carry, and a touchdown. So Oklahoma was able to take care of this with the run game, which we haven't really seen them do. They outrushed Tennessee 192 to 63 and were able to overcome 11 penalties for 104 yards, while Tennessee only had three penalties for 25 yards. That's impressive. This was close though. I mean, it was 33 to 27, so it wasn't like it was a blowout or one-sided game either way, but an
Yeah.
interesting matchup nevertheless.
No, I really thought it was interesting, mainly because how Oklahoma somehow won this game. Because, like you said, their offense wasn't great, especially their passing game was just diabolical at sometimes. Um, yeah, Oklahoma just I don't trust them to go far, even if they do make the playoff. They just don't look like a team that's contending right now.
They will go at Alabama, host Mizzou, host LSU for their last three games. It's looking pretty brutal.
They might lose two of those.
Yeah. So that was basically everything. That was at least all the big moments of Week 10. I think we can go ahead and talk our updated power ranking list and Heisman race.
Yeah, and now that is pointing out that that the power rankings or not the power rankings, the CFP will drop after this has been recorded. So again, we might be right, we might be wrong, but again, this power ranking is not based on actual rankings. So we'll see how we go. Should I go through what we had last week?
Go for it.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I had Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Alabama 3, Texas A&M 4, Miami 5. Josh had Ohio State 1, Alabama 2, Texas A&M 3, Indiana 4, Miami 5. I feel like that's changing there. Why don't you start there, number 5?
We'll
Actually,
have a
just go ahead and give
change.
your whole list. Just give your whole list. That might be easier.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
we'll do the.
Yeah, and again, power ranking more so is dependent on what we think the team's potential is, also not
Yeah.
necessarily based on on-field results. Uh, yeah, so Miami's obviously sliding out of mine, and then obviously that leaves me with trying to figure out who to throw there. And I messed around with some teams. You obviously got undefeated BYU out there. You got one loss Texas Tech. You got one loss Oregon. And I think all three of those teams, got their certain flaws. And Georgia's another team that also has their certain flaws. But I decided to go with Georgia here because they just continue to find ways to win in several different ways. They might not be, the highest ceiling team, which a power ranking I think is supposed to take into consideration. But I also think not many teams have a higher floor than Georgia too. Like the system there that Kirby Smart's got is so good, and they're never really able to be. I've heard Josh Pate say this. No one ever cuts the head off the snake when they go against Georgia. They might temporarily wound them a little bit or stab them, but they get back on their feet and they find a way to come back and
Yeah.
bite you. And yeah, so that's why I decided to go with Georgia there at 5. But there are about four teams that I juggled around and landed on the dogs. So they're 5. And then the top 4, I just decided to keep the same there. Indiana at 4, Texas A&M 3, Alabama 2, Ohio State 1.
Yeah. For me, I'm going the same way as you for the same reasons. I'm going Georgia at 5. Again, there's a few other teams thought about, but like Georgia, part of the game of winning is just figuring out how to win, and they do figure out how to win. So for me, Georgia 5, kept Texas A&M at 4. I still think they're a little tier behind Alabama. I think Alabama's a three, and then again, Indiana playing so good right now. I have them at two, and then Ohio State at one. Um, all right. So our Heisman lists last week. Mine was Jeremiah Smith at five, Brandon Sorsby at four, which is just terrible at this point. Three Mendoza, two Simpson, one Sayan. You had Josh Hoover at five, Mendoza at four, Robertson at three, Ty Simpson at two, and Julian Sayan at one.
All
Let's
right.
you want me to start or you want me to start? You want me to start?
I'll go ahead and start.
Okay, you start number five.
And I'm going to start only because I know you're going to make fun of me for this. But Jeremiah Smith found his way back in at five for me. He had the two touchdown game,
You
120 some yards against Penn State. I hadn't seen that in a little while, Ben. I was telling you that Jeremiah Smith always was only on the list because of his talent more so than the production. It's like I got to see some production if I'm going
yeah.
to have a skill player be on the Heisman ballot, like we saw with Devontae Smith when he won it, like when we saw with Marvin Harrison when he was a finalist. And I mean, we all know that Jeremiah Smith's the best wide receiver. I don't think many people would dispute that, but it's just like I need to see some like box scores, man. And he finally got it this week against, Penn State. Say what you will about Penn State, but we saw Jeremiah do it. So I stuck him back in here at five.
You see, there's these moments in my time as a co-host here on the podcast that I know I'm about to get extremely judged and extremely um yeah. It's just gonna be one of those moments, okay, Josh? So just hold
Well,
on,
you put Brendan
hold your
Sorsby
seatbelt.
on last week,
Yeah.
and he ended up flopping heavy.
So
So
here we go. Hear me out. Hear me
okay,
out on this, okay? I was thinking about doing Haynes King. I decided not to. I feel like he doesn't have enough passing stats for me to really think he's a that kind of quarterback in that sense.
he had over 400 or maybe 500 total yards this weekend
Yeah.
too in that loss, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
But for me, it's just the more the passing side of it. Like he doesn't pass the ball nearly as much as I feel like he should. For me, number five is Carnell Tate at number five. If you look at his numbers, and I'm just being straight with you,
I
Josh.
think
You
they're
look at
better than
his numbers.
Jeremiah's the totals
He
right
has
now.
more receptions. He has more. I believe he might have slightly less receptions. He has more yards. His touchdowns are a little less, but when you watch him play, he is playing like if Jeremiah Smith did not was not around in college football, Carnell Tate would be the best receiver in college football, hands down. And so for me, I was kind of throwing names out there. I didn't really feel any that stuck, and I decided to go Carnell Tate at number five.
If you have three Buckeyes on this list, man. But I will continue. And Sawyer Robertson with the
Oh
totals is
gosh.
still at four. He's still got the total yards and the total touchdowns in the country, man. Or at least total passing
Oh
touchdowns.
man.
So I got him at four.
Uh, I,
Hasn't
I
slipped out yet.
I love it. Well, number four for me, I had Brendan Sorsby. Obviously, he's not there. It's going to be Jeremiah Smith at four. Um, and some people are going to call me a homer. Some people are going to call me a Buckeye for life. And you know what? You know I do have bias. I'm not going to lie. But hey, when you're the best team and you have the two best receivers, but also tell me other guys that aren't playing better than they are right now. I'd be hard to find. I mean, yeah, maybe you could say Marcel Reed, Haynes King. Maybe you could throw those guys in there. Sawyer Robertson, fine. But for me, in my opinion, if you have the best player not on the list, which he should be on the list, he's going to be on the list. And then just the way Carnell Tate's been playing, I think you have to put them on the list. And again, I think it's going to be funny to watch Bolitnikoff and see which one of them gets it. Um, but for me, those two guys are at least the bottom two of my five.
All right. Moving up to three for me. This is where I got Ty Simpson. Guy just continues to stay efficient, taking care of the football. Trying to find where at exactly. 12th in the nation in touchdowns with 20. And yeah, he still just has the one pick right there. So continuing to will Alabama on this big winning streak. Got him at three.
Yeah, three for me is going to stay Fernando Mendoza. Again, he didn't have a great game stat wise, but again, he led his team to victory. He did what he needed to when he had to. The interception did kind of was interesting to me, but overall, I think he's a good spot for him.
Two's where I got Fernando. Second in the nation in touchdown passes. He is, let's see. seventh in the nation in completion percentage. And the passing yards may not be there with the other guys, but it's still respectable enough that you definitely got to consider him. This is the guy that's quarterback in the second best team in the country.
Yeah. And number two for me, Ty Simpson. I mean, like everything you said about him. I mean, just the efficiency, but also the way he protects the ball. I think it makes it a great fit here at number two.
All right, number one. This is where I still have Julian saying
Yeah.
third in the league in touchdowns. Also has one less pick than Fernando Mendoza does. Also got to shout out the Buckeye offensive line. He's only been sacked 3 times this year.
Yeah.
Hasn't really had to deal with a whole lot of pressure.
No.
First in the country in passer rating, and the yards. He's climbing the ladder in yards too. He is up to 19th now in that category. And then yeah, this last weekend, more touchdown passes than incompletions, and then completion percentage still completing over
80
80%.
80%, dude. That's and the thing is he's
This
averaging
far into the season, nine
and he's
games in.
also averaging like the third most yards per attempt, which means he's not just like throwing bubble screens. Like he's
Hmm.
actually pushing the ball down the field. So again, I agree with you. He's the perfect guy for number one.
Yeah, man. So we will go on to some of these games that we got going on this weekend. Still some big ones. One that I don't think a lot of people are going to be talking about. We'll just kick it off here first. Is Oregon at Iowa. Now, you might look and we've figured Big Ten's going to get at least 3 playoff teams in. We've been discussing the possibility
They
of a
might get
fourth.
four,
We've been
maybe
discussing the possibility of a
five.
fourth. We'll see what the other conferences do. But yeah, four is still definitely in play. But the reason I think more realistically it might be three, and I think that's because Oregon still has a tough way to get into. I don't know if they're guaranteed. They got to go at Iowa, which has been a tough place to play, and Iowa's still
Mhm.
6-2. They're 26th in the AP. I think they should be in that top 25
Oh, for
somewhere, but
sure.
they're just on the outside. Not an easy place to go. And then they got home games with Minnesota and USC after that, and then they got to go at Washington, another 6-2 team, also a place that's not really easy to play at.
A
So it's
rivalry
just
game
like,
too.
yeah. And their last couple games, we've seen Oregon
Not look great.
lose to Indiana on their own home field, struggle, at least in the first half, against Wisconsin, who hasn't been good. So I think they definitely got their flaws that are starting to get exposed, and they still
It's
got
Iowa defense, man.
Iowa defense is good. I think it could cause some problems. Oregon is only a 6.5 point favorite in this one, so it's not going to be easy by any means. And I think there's other matchups people are going to be talking about, maybe rightfully so. But I think this is one that's going to be one of the more underrated matchups of the weekend, kicking off at 3:30 on CBS.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I this game I've been looking at this week, and I've really been trying to think about, kind of this game. And I think one of the biggest things is just the defense for Iowa. Iowa's offense definitely has improved, but I think you look at this defense, and it's just such a difficult defense to kind of figure out. And I think Oregon's offense looked very so-so the last few weeks. So I'm interested to see how that does and how's their defense to play. And I'm actually going to pull the upset here. I think I'm gonna pick Iowa here. And I'm gonna say Iowa wins this game. I'm gonna go 20-13 Iowa.
Hmm. Yeah, if you're interested in, I guess, how Iowa's season has gone so far, they held Indiana to 20 in a loss, and that is one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and that's the lowest total that Indiana has scored this year. If you want to know some common opponents, Iowa was able to beat Wisconsin 37-0, not just 21-7.
Yeah.
Uh, Oregon did crush Rutgers 56-10 though, and Iowa only got them 38-28. So transitive property doesn't always come into play here, but more recently too, Iowa crushed Minnesota 41-3. Just got by Penn State 25-24. Uh, I don't know if I am as brave enough as you to say Iowa comes out and wins this game. I think that Iowa's definitely capable of winning this one, but I'm going to go ahead here and say that Oregon comes out with more of an ugly win. I think, like you said, I'll go 23-21. Actually, Oregon, potentially
Mm,
some late game drama.
the
Maybe
old late
where,
game drama.
yeah, some late game drama right there. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. Uh, I think the game that everybody is mostly discussing is what's going on in the Big 12 with BYU at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
A lot of the national media will be over there for this one. We'll just go ahead and give a little bit of info on what's happening. Let's see. So This matchup, Ben, will be, what time is it? Oh, yeah, this is the noon game on ABC. So at Lubbock, Texas. BYU, of course, they're undefeated and everybody's asking, well, who have they played? And more recently, they've been getting to some of those teams. They were able to beat Utah 24 to 21. They were able to beat Iowa State 41 to 27 in their last two games. And then over on the other side, you got Texas Tech, who's been, one of the better teams too in this conference. They're coming off of a 43 to 20 win over Kansas State, 42 to nothing over Oklahoma State. Their only loss was to Arizona State, 26 to 22. The one thing I thought interesting about looking at that box score in that one, if you're going to beat Texas Tech, you definitely got to limit their pass game, whether it's been Will Hammond or Baron Morton. 167 passing yards by Texas Tech in that game, I think, was the second lowest total, if I remember from my research that they put out. That was something that Arizona State was able to come out and contain, and it ended up being enough to help them win that game. And then over on the BYU side, like I said, they've been cruising. Bear Buckmeyer's been one of the more fun guys I think to watch with the 47 jersey on, built like a running back, true freshman coming out here. And you got to wonder, man, if he would have stayed at Stanford instead of transferring in, what could have maybe been for the Cardinal. But yeah, I think this is the game that everybody's going to be paying attention to. And it obviously has a huge effect on the way the playoff picture looks, the way the Big 12 race looks. What's exciting to you about this game, Ben?
I'm excited to see if BYU is, I think this is the biggest test for them to see if they are legit, right? And to see if they can actually do this. And again, I think Bear is the second best freshman. He's probably going to finish runner up in the Sean Alexander Award, which is for freshman of the year, to Julian Sane. And I think that's kind of where he's at right now because he's playing really good. Again, he might not be the most natural gifted passer at times or doesn't know he plays with his heart. He reminds me like a Tim Tebow kind of idea of like plays with his heart. He's gonna play with that mind. And again, I like BYU's defense in this. And I really think BYU will win this game. I think it's going to really push them forward. I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to say BYU 35, Texas Tech 21.
Yeah, like what I was just saying, some of the things that have been able to, I guess, contain Texas Tech. If you're gonna, beat Texas Tech, you got to be able to contain the pass. BYU is 28th in the country in passing yards allowed.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Texas Tech loves to get after the quarterback too. I think they got the nation's leading sack guy right now, whose name escapes me right now. I'll try to find that name here though. But BYU is 18th in fewest sacks allowed, so they've been able to protect Bear for the most part this season too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think BYU, their strengths play to Texas Tech strengths. I think they're built for a moment like this. I'm gonna go ahead and say that they win uh, outright. Let me go ahead and get that guy for Texas Tech. I don't want to leave anybody out of this. It is David Bailey, 11 and a half sacks, most in the country.
Mm.
So gonna have to be keeping an eye on that matchup right there. You don't want to forget where that guy's at on the line. But I'm gonna go ahead and say BYU wins this game. Also, the spread is Texas Tech minus 9.5 actually. So
Mm.
give me BYU points for sure in that. And I'll take a BYU. I think it's going to have to be a little higher scoring.
Yeah.
Not a shootout, but give me BYU 31 to 27.
Mm. Mm-mm. Should we
Let's,
do should we do one more big game? We can go one. I was thinking of one of these big games we can kind of end on because just for time's sake, but because I also think we want to talk about a little bit of NFL. But
okay.
what do you
We'll
think?
just go with
Should we do
we'll just go with
LSU,
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M?
Texas A&M and Mizzou.
Yeah,
That's
I
a top
agree.
25 on top 25.
Because no one wants to talk about LSU. Which, by the way, unless LSU hires Nick Saban, then maybe we'll talk about LSU again. Um, but yeah, I like the Texas A&M Mizzou. I like this game. It's going to be an interesting game, man. Very interesting
Mizzou
game.
is the home team. It's at 3:30. Texas A&M is a 6.5 point road favorite though.
Do you feel this game is going to come down to like this? Is what I was thinking about this game, Josh. Do you feel it's going to come down to if Texas A&M can actually play defense for 4 quarters against a decent quality offense?
Um, well, here's the other thing too, is Bo Prabula gonna play in this
No, I
game?
don't think he is. But they
I
have a
don't think
really
he
good running
is.
game.
They
That's
do.
what I'm
They got a
wondering.
really good run. We've seen Texas A&M's defense give up, some high scoring points. Like Arkansas was able to put 42 on them, but they got Taylon Green
Mm-hmm.
who can throw too.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri, you don't want it to go unnoticed that they're fighting for their playoff hopes in this one too. But Texas A&M coming up, Scott, home games with South Carolina, home games with Samford, and then they got to go at Texas for their last one. So this is kind of
Do
like
or
that
die.
last.
Do or die.
It is. Missouri's going to fight. I think A&M's going to come out here though. I think they might even cover that 6.5.
Yeah, I just have a really hard time believing Mizzou, even if they were fully healthy, to really win this game. I just Texas A&M, they're doing enough defensively. I think they need to improve defensively, but I think they're doing enough. And that offense, Marcel Reed, he's when he's on and when the offense is all cohesive, they're really good. And I think it's going to be an interesting game. But I think Texas A&M is going to pull this one out. I'm going to say it's going to be 28-21.
Yeah, just looking at like Mizzou's more recent games when they've been having to play like harder competition, it was the game that Bo went down in, but they lost to Vanderbilt by 7. They needed double overtime to get by Auburn by 6. They lost
Mm.
that one game to Alabama, and then they only were able to beat South Carolina by 9. So
Mm.
it's kind of like a Tennessee situation. It's like they haven't really defeated anybody worth noting yet, and I doubt that Texas A&M is going to be that first good team that they
Yeah,
beat.
I agree. I
So
agree.
give me Texas A&M in this one, 35-16,
Mm.
easy cover. So yeah, we'll go ahead and keep the college football game previews right there because we do have some NFL things we want to discuss. There's been a lot of player movement around, and the
Yeah,
Jets have been in sell mode,
just was crazy how much they've been selling. Guys that I
throwing
thought
in the
was good.
towel,
Well, guys I thought
rightfully
they were going to
so,
be
probably.
cornerstone pieces. Like some of the guys I thought like, oh, they're going to be here for the next 5 years, eight
You would have thought,
years,
yeah, like super young guys that are like, top tier at their position. Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner on the move. Sauce goes to the Colts.
which
Colts give
I
up. I like that move. I think the Colts right now, they see that teams like the Chiefs, teams like the Ravens are down by their standards.
the two first round picks is interesting. I would have given up one. I don't know if I would have given up that second one. That's
Yeah,
the only
I
interesting one.
that was a really
And
like
you gave
good
up a
haul.
receiver too. So it's
One
like
of
you gave up
yeah, your
extra
second round pick
guys.
from
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a power move by the Colts. I think they're all in on this season.
Hey,
I
their
think they
their owners out there with the headset, so she has a new like vision on things. So
yeah. I think they see that some of the typical AFC contenders are down and they're going all in on this year to make sure that they, put their best foot forward. So I love the move. You could say it's a little much for a corner, depending on how important you think corners are to like total team success, but I love the move by the Colts.
from
Cowboys, I think gave up,
Went to Cincinnati too. So it's not too far from where he was playing. So it's a
yeah.
good little homecoming.
Now the Quinnen trade, they give up only one first rounder, right?
And they gave up Maxie Smith as well. He also
Mozzie
was a
Smith,
Mozzie Smith.
and I thought maybe another pick might have
Yeah, I
been
think it was like
involved in that.
a later round
Yeah.
pick.
Cowboys also went out and got Logan Wilson, who
Yeah.
recently requested trade two from the
Yeah,
Bengals. So
because
they're
for some reason
getting
he's
some
ranked
defensive
higher
pieces.
than the two rookie middle linebackers, yet they would not play him in the Bengals. I'm like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
How bad that defense is.
for sure. So, yeah, the trade deadline, we're getting closer and closer. There's a lot of other trades that have gone on. Jacoby Myers got traded from the Raiders to the Jags was another one that I saw
The
before we
Browns
came in
only made
here.
one move, literally one move.
One move. Yeah, they went out and got somebody from the Bears for a couple late round
No,
picks,
they
but
traded him to the Bears for
traded him to the
yeah.
Bears for late round picks.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
a backup DN, so nothing crazy.
Yeah, and we already made the trade for Tyson Campbell, and
Yeah.
we traded Joe Flacco. So there've been a couple other like moves like that they've done. We haven't really been buyers though,
No,
have
which
we?
is also why would you ever like
This
something
isn't
to
really a
wonder,
season that
man.
you'd want to buy because it's like we're way out of the
And also
picture anyways.
Stefanski gave up play calling finally. Oh my word, I've been asking for that since like week 1.
Yeah,
Why you're calling plays. You're not doing well. You're so conservative. You never want to throw the ball past like 7 yards.
yeah.
Also, give Shador a shot for crying out loud. What's
Are
the
you
worst
ready? Are
guy?
you ready for that?
No, I'm not. But it's also like, what's the like? Gabriel has literally terrified to throw the ball past a 12-yard pass. Like at least let the guy go out and sling it. He's probably a poor man's version of Jameis Winston, right? Just go out, throw it, sling it, whatever happens, happens. You know, that's kind of how I view it because there's nothing to lose from this, right? You don't have much receiving help. You know that the probably the first thing they're going to draft in this year's draft. I mean, I would think it's Carnell Tate would be a great fit for the Browns, a guy who can actually go out and do something, right? Because the quarterback class is not that great. So you keep what you have and you get a receiver next year in the draft and you get an offensive lineman because their offensive line is trash. It's terrible. So you get
We'll
those
have
two
two
things.
first rounders. We will have two
Yeah.
first rounders next year as it stands right now.
And Jaguars keep losing, please.
That would be great. Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, it's just interesting around the and again going to the Sauce Gardner. I mean, he's only like 24, 25 years old and like it's like the Jets, I don't know if the Jets know what they're doing. You give $40 million to Justin Fields. I love
I th
Justin Fields, but he wasn't worth it.
yeah.
You don't want to trade Garrett Wilson. I mean, what's Garrett Wilson thinking now? Like, okay, you're going to trade literally all the core. Am I just going to be in a rebuild for the next 5 years? If I'm
I
Garrett
think
Wilson, I'm trying to get
that's
out of
yeah.
there.
I think that's a situation they're in. And I mean, this is a team that just, what was it, 3 years ago when they made the trade for Aaron Rodgers, they were like, man, we got the Super Bowl defense. Now we got like
Exactly.
a Super Bowl quarterback. And I think, this window, I guess, is just closed and they're admitting that. Like, what are they, 1-7 right now?
Yeah, something like
And
that.
so they're just like, yeah, if we're gonna get out of this 1-7, like we gotta, restart. And you see that a lot in the
They
NFL.
need to change
So
coaches, what they need to do.
I think it is crazy, like you said. These are a lot of younger guys that they're getting rid of. It's
Yeah.
not like guys that are 30 or about to become free agents again. I think they had Sauce locked up, and I think they had Quinnen locked up, if I remember right. Definitely cornerstone pieces, but yeah, I don't think it's weird to see NFL teams do this if they see like that a window's closed and they got to restart. They just
Yeah.
kind of start with a clean slate again, and then try to get a bunch of picks and try to build
And
towards another winning
can,
window.
can we also talk about how Ohio State is truly wide receiver U with the amount of receivers? Matt Smith and Jigba, who's probably on pace for 2,000 yards. Garrett Wilson's a top 10 receiver. Ibuka's becoming a top 15, top 20 receiver. Harrison's a top 15, 20 receiver. Dude, it's just crazy these dudes that come out of Ohio State. Again, even as a fan, like I'm in all of these guys in the NFL because they're all playing McLaurin, like they're all playing every single chance they get, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, for a little while there, it was a conversation with the way that Alabama, LSU, and Clemson also were producing guys. But I think the last couple drafts, Ohio State's just pulled away, and it's clear that they're the spot.
Yeah, and you got the best wide receiver coach in the country, who happens also to call plays.
And in 2 more seasons, both Smith and Tate will also be in the NFL. I'm
That's
assuming doing the
wild.
same stuff.
That's just wild to me.
Yeah,
It's wild that Jeremiah Smith has. By the way, he is already like fifth in every record at Ohio State, and he's still got a whole nother season left. He's gonna own every record in Ohio State for receivers.
very good
Every
chance.
record, very good record. It's just wild to me. Anything else on the mind? Basketball, anything like that on your mind at all?
No, I haven't really gotten to see much of the basketball action yet. I did see that not too long ago, SGA had a 55-point game, but half of his points came at the free throw line. I'm like, I guess nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, man. I love basketball season though, and it's gonna be exciting this year. Um, yeah, it's wild. I mean, before we know it, it's gonna be March Madness. Like I know it's
Hmm.
crazy. That's like 8 months away, but I'm like, nope. It's it's literally 6 months away. It's not right around the corner for sure.
Heck of a show today, sir.
Dude, fun as always. Enough. I did get a comment from someone from school that said last week that I was crazy to put a guy from Cincinnati on the Heisman watch list, and I guess now I guess I truly am crazy there, Josh. I
It
truly am.
happens.
It does. It happens to all of us.
I'm
It
glad
happens.
that happened because like I've beat the drum a lot for Miami this year and it hasn't paid off.
Yeah,
And yeah, we have our moments. It's
we
just
all
nice
have
to
our
see you get
moments.
one every now and then too.
It is nice. I tend to be a little more perfect on that sense. No, Lord, we're all fallen. Anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And if you love listening to the episode on YouTube, anywhere you can watch it, then go click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you love listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a nice rating and comment down below. What should the comment be today? What should be the question today? What's the question we should ask
Will
today?
Ohio State have two Heisman finalists?
Mm. which will
I think
screw
3 is
Ohio State.
crazy. We'll just say 2. Will
Which
they
I
have 2?
always tell people when there's two of them up there, it always screws them over because then they take votes
They
from
take
each
votes
other.
from the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good question. And actually, I'll pose a second question. Do you believe that there will be two more by the end of the regular season? There will be at least two more high profile jobs open in college football.
I
Hmm.
still think Fickle's going to go down.
Oh,
Whether you
I
think
think
Wisconsin's
Dabo's
a high
gone.
profile job or not, I think Fickle's definitely
I think
still out.
Dabo's
Dabo
gone.
lost his 5th game. He could be out too.
I think Dabo's gone. Anyways, you know who is gone? Our
Us.
brains and us. Anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And until next time, we'll see ya.